Goalkeepers, nervous strikers, they'll deliver. Crowd roars erupted, you can feel the quake. Anything, we never move on the Louis.
Hello, Nigerian football fans and football fans everywhere. You're welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about the Super Eagles. Of course, you know they have to play against Zimbabwe. After a very good victory, very decent victory against and the Rwanda national team, winning two goals to nil away from home. So a very, very good result, in my opinion. I'm sure you're happy about that yourself. But now, going into the game versus Zimbabwe, can the Nigerian Super Eagles do it again? Can they win? Of course, when you look at the caliber of players, you look at the strength in depth of the Nigerian Super Eagles team, definitely you would say Nigeria should be able to build on what was a very positive performance against Rwanda and surely defeat Zimbabwe. But one thing we know, we do not want complacency. We do not want, you definitely cannot take the Zimbabwean national team for granted, for sure. That's one thing you cannot do in football overall, and especially in African football. You cannot afford to take your opponent lightly or take them for granted. Nothing is given. We know this is a home fixture. We know we've got the home advantage. But we should remember the South African game where Nigeria dropped points at home. Now, playing against Zimbabwe, of course, Nigeria is the better team. Of course, Nigeria is the stronger team. But the onus of winning that game, the responsibility of winning that game, the pressure to win that game is on the Nigerian Super Eagles. The Zimbabwean national team, right now, they're playing with what we call house money. If they win, the whole world will be shocked. Wow, Zimbabwe won. What an upset. If they lose, they were expected to lose. If they draw, wonderful result for them as well. It's not something that would be shocking to anybody. But for the Nigerian Super Eagles, if you draw, to some extent, even if Nigerian Super Eagles wins 2-1 with a bad performance, people still say, that was a very poor performance. We're not happy. We are happy with the 3 points, but not really satisfied with the performance. So the responsibility of winning that game is on Nigerian Super Eagles. Now, for me, in this video, I'll be talking about certain things I would like to see change going into the game versus Zimbabwe. I know the team played very well against Rwanda, but there's still a lot of room for development. So there's some changes I would love to see going into the Zimbabwean game, and then I would share some video clips, and then we'll look at them and we'll all react to those video clips, and I'll give my 2 cents about them. I'll also be looking at the certain statements that have been accredited to Eric Chelle, the head coach of the Nigerian Super Eagles. I'll look at them, I'll watch the video together, and I'll give my 2 cents and opinions about it. And I'd like to know what you think, what your thoughts are about, what Eric Chelle said in that video, and about the changes that I expect, that I would like to see. And you as well, what changes would you like to see going into the game versus Zimbabwe? Or are you happy with how the team played? You're happy with the team lineup? You're happy with the team selection for the Rwandan game, and you want that exact team replicated, in the game versus Zimbabwe? So, first videos that we'll be looking at is obviously getting to see the Super Eagles, getting back to training, getting back to training and sort of getting back into the swing of things after their, celebration. So share on here and let's have a look. See, so exactly, this is Eric Chelle. The training Super Eagles. Of course, this is from the official Super Eagles handle on X. You can see him setting up sort of the training ground, putting the cones there. You have those dummy structures there, possibly for speed and dribbling, close control training. So fully back into the swing of things, and that's nice to see. Now, for me, one change I would like to see going into the game versus Zimbabwe, I would like to see Bruno Onyemaechi playing at left back. That's one thing I would like to see. I would like to see Bruno Onyemaechi at left back. I know a lot of people say Olayina is a very good defender, is a very good player. For me, yes, like I said before, Olayina is world class. Olayina is absolutely world class, in my opinion. That's how highly I rate him. But I don't want him playing out of position. One thing I want Olayina to play at right back, Bruno Onyemaechi at left back. So you have that balance, both in terms of going forward and defending. That's where I want them to play. And then as well, I would love to see an Igor Ubu. Igor Ubu. I'd love to see him play in that heart of the defense. But for me right now, that is not a major change, though I would love to see Igor Ubu start alongside Troost Ekong, because I think that would be a phenomenal, formidable partnership. But if Calvin Bassey does start against Zimbabwe, it wouldn't be the end of the world. It wouldn't be what I would lose my mind about for. But I would just love to see Troost Ekong and Igor Ubu start in that central midfield role. And then for me, I think Simon Moses, he was okay. He had that shot that the goalkeeper saved, but I don't want to see him start. At least I don't want to see him start in that game. And for me, I would prefer to have Ademola Lookman take up his spot in that three-man sort of attacking midfield role. And then the supporting striker next to Victor Osimhen for me should be Boniface, especially if Eric Chelle decides to use, the second striker the same way he used Ademola Lookman in that game versus Rwanda. So for me, I want to see Victor Boniface alongside Victor Osimhen in that attacking role, in those two striker role. So that's one thing I want to see going into that game. And then the next thing I want to see as well is quickness in the passes. The passes were too slow for me. Even if the Rwandan side in that game had decided to drop deep, to defend deep, the passes should have been a lot quicker. The passes should have been a lot smoother. There should have been a lot more control. And the Rwandan side, they had a lot more openings going into that game. And one of the reasons they had the openings going in that game versus Rwanda, it was because Olayina kept inverting into midfield. He kept moving into midfield, as a right-footed fullback. As a right-footed fullback that was playing at left back, he kept moving into midfield. And once he moved into midfield, what would happen is the Rwandan team would have the ball played over the top to that space left behind him. So for me, I want the passes to be quicker. Even if it's a short pass, it has to be quick. It has to be crisp. We have to see some level of intentionality with the passes. That's what I want to see going into that game. Now, this for me is more of a tactical thing. It's more tactical for me. Because I want Eric Chelle to say, "Come on, we want to control the game. We want to pass the ball, but I want to see that ball played a lot quicker. I want to see that ball played, a lot sharper instead of the slow sort of build up that was going on." But like I said, the excuse that I gave the team and I gave Eric Chelle in that Rwandan game was, that was the first outing of the Nigerian Super Eagles under Eric Chelle. Was the first outing. You don't expect everything to just kick into gear automatically, perfectly from day one. But what I want to see going into the Zimbabwe game, I want to see a lot more control. I want to see progression from what was a very good performance against the Rwandan national team. Following on that, I want to see, in addition to progress, I want to see more intention in terms of creating attacks, in terms of pinning the Zimbabwean team down. Because one thing we must expect is this. If you think that the Rwandan team played deep and defended deep, you've not seen anything yet. The Zimbabwean national team would defend even deeper. They would defend even deeper. And just like the Rwandan game, the way to unlock them would be to score early. 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the game, you get your first goal. It may seem like the obvious thing to say, but it is dead on. It is very, very true. You get the first goal, the game opens up, They now want to get at least a draw from the game, or at best a win. They open up themselves, they pour forward, and then you have openings in behind them to score the second, third, fourth, fifth goal if you can. And then one other thing I want to see as well is quick balls to Victor Osimhen, because he will always make those runs. Always. Victor Osimhen, one thing is guaranteed: he will always make those runs, in behind the last defender, playing on the shoulder of the last defender. He will always make those runs going in behind. So don't think that we have to hold the ball and be too deliberate and too slow on the ball. Once you get that ball, Victor Osimhen is making that runs. There used to be a similar connection between Cesc Fabregas and Diego Costa at Chelsea. So the same thing. Who's on the ball? Look up, Victor Osimhen would have made those runs and would have gone in. And this is one of the reasons I've been clamoring for an Ebenezer Akintumiro to be in that team. Because when I look at Wilfred Ndidi, does he have that long range passing to pick out the likes of Victor Osimhen? I'm not quite sure. Jarry Ball, no, he doesn't have that. That's one of the reasons I say he does have the athletic ability, but he doesn't have the ability to go long and hit those kind of passes. Rafael Onyedika, I think he has a bit of that about him, but we need to see that quickly. Another thing again I would like to see is Ademola Lookman. You are world class. You are a top class player. You are a top class player. But please make the right decisions. Make the right play. Now, fair play to Ademola Lookman. He should have got 2 assists. He got the first one, for that in-swinging cross from the set piece to Victor Osimhen, that Victor Osimhen finished consummately. Beautiful finish from Victor Osimhen. Strikers finish. Exquisite finish from Victor Osimhen, the first one. Even the second goal was brilliant as well. So Ademola Lookman, make the right play when you're in that position, because one thing is true: Ademola Lookman will always be on the ball. He will always be on the ball. And fair play, he should be on the ball, because he is, in my opinion, after Victor Osimhen, he is Nigeria's best player. Victor Osimhen is number 1, Ademola Lookman is number 2, and then Troost Ekong is number 3. So Victor Osimhen is Nigeria's best player. Ademola Lookman is Nigeria's second best player. And in terms of the midfielders, offensive midfielders, attacking midfielders, he is the best. He is the best. So he would have more of the ball. He will have more touches on the ball. So it's now his responsibility to make the right play. Now, you don't need to look for goals. Sometimes the obvious pass is the best pass. Like against Rwanda, there was an attack when, Nigeria, I think we were 3-on-2. No, rather we were 3-3, but you had 2 of the Rwandan defenders close more to the direction of where you had Simon Moses and Victor Osimhen, and then Chukwueze was free. I get it. In the heat of the moment, probably it's not easy to make that decision, but the right decision would have been lay the ball in for Samuel Chukwueze, make the secondary runs into the box, and then Chukwueze has the opportunity, because it was just wide open, him and the goalkeeper. Either he takes the shot or squares it back to Ademola Lookman. So for me, those are a couple of changes I would like to see. And then I'll share a video with you, about something that Eric Chelle said. We will listen to it, and then I'll give my 2 cents about it, and you can also share your opinions in the chat as well. So just give me a moment. I'll bring up that video very soon, and then we'll watch it, and I'll give my 2 cents about it, and then you can share your opinion about it as well. Okay, so share my screen in a minute. Yes, share screen so we can all see it and listen to what he said, and then I'll give my opinion about it. So we'll go there, and shown here. in here, and then we're going to play this. So
this is a question about my system, my gameplay. So I think everybody in this team can play. So my job is, I talk to my guy during the week. My job is to make some choice. Their job is to accept the choice. So we need to together to bring a goal, to bring a qualify for the country, and the most important thing to bring the World Cup qualifier for us. We have some great players, and they need to go to the World Cup. So sometime today the team was good. Maybe the next time the team was good, will not good. So I just want make my job. My job is to analyze the opponent and make some choice. So
now I think you've seen the video. Wonder what your thoughts and opinions are on Eric Chelle. I know a lot of people have been sort of losing their minds because he said, and just to give a quick shout out, I think this video was courtesy Adepoju Toby Samuel. Courtesy Adepoju Toby Samuel. So got this from his Twitter handle, and we'll all watch it. And so for me to give context, I think this is an excerpt, or rather a clip from his post-match interview after the game versus Rwanda. Now, he said anyone can play. Now, there are two ways to look at this. Now, the first way, which I think is how he intends it to be, or his intention, or what he has at the back of his mind, is this. He's using this to make sure those who start are kept on their toes. Anyone can play. Victor Osimhen, you can play today, but if you don't perform, Victor Boniface can come in your place. Tola Arokodare can come in your place. Bright Osayi Samuel, you started today, but going into the game versus Zimbabwe, if you don't run for everybody in training, Bruno Onyemaechi will come in your place. So I think that is what he is going for. But some people have interpreted it to mean that he means, oh, I can play anybody I want to play. That means I can decide to keep Victor Osimhen on the bench and play Tola Arokodare instead. Or I can decide to keep Ademola Lookman on the bench, and play Iwobi instead. Now, I don't think that's what it meant, but let's just look at that for a minute. If he does that, then he'll be signing his own sack letter, in my opinion. Because for me, though I've said it, Tola Arokodare, very good striker. I've always said that. I've advocated for him to be in the team. Victor Boniface, we all know what he does for Bayer Leverkusen. So a top striker, no problem about that. But we know Victor Osimhen. There's only one Victor Osimhen. What he brings to the team, his speed, his strength, his ginger, as we say in Nigeria, his leadership spirit. There's only one of him in that team. And in football in general, I've said in previous videos, is one in a generation player, one in a dispensation player. We had Didier Drogba that had a similar effect for Ivory Coast and Chelsea. We had Diego Costa that had similar effect for Chelsea. And then we've now had Victor Osimhen. So he is special. So I don't think he's saying the main players like Ademola Lookman and the likes would, that they'll likely not play, and then you have someone else on the bench. He plays them. I don't think that's what he meant. So let's see what's in the chat here. Jacob Joel. Yeah, Jackpot. Please, hopefully I've not pronounced your name, Jacob. I've not mispronounced your name. Jacob Joel Jackpot. Okay? You're right, sir. Thank you so much. So thank you so much for your comment. Thanks so much for your chat. Let me see what does it do. Okay. So for me, I think that's what he meant, because you're not going to have the likes of Victor Osimhen and have him on the bench. You're not going to have the likes of Ademola Lookman and have him on the bench and play someone who's not as good as he is. But one thing in football is you must strive to ensure that complacency does not slip into the game, does not slip into the minds of your players. And how do you do that? You put them on their toes by making them know that every day they have to earn the right to play. Anyone can play. If you're not giving me what I want in training, someone else can take your spot. So I'm guessing that's what he means. But also, when it comes to making players competitive, making sure they're not complacent, the quality of players that you bring to the team, that you invite to the team, also helps this a lot. The quality of players you bring in also help the team a lot. So NFF, Eric Chelle, we go into the Zimbabwe game. Hopefully, all things considered, you win that game. Fine. That's one thing we're looking at hoping to, achieve. But you must improve the squad depth. You must improve the squad depth. What's funny, there's someone else. I've talked about this player before. I'm not going to mention his name because I'm not here to, breach anyone's confidence. There's a player, he's been called up for one of the 8th grade sides for a national team. Of course, not a Nigerian national team, but he's eligible to play for Nigeria. And I saw him and I sent him a message that Nigeria needs you, jokingly. And he said, if they invite him, he's ready. So the point I'm making is this: you need to improve the squad depth. Because for me, Bright Osayi Samuel, for instance, is decent, he's okay. But to take the levels to the next level, you need another top level left back that can do it both ways. So for me, Bright Osayi Samuel, you need a top class right back rather that can compete with Ola Aina. And then at left back, when you look at Bruno Onyemaechi, he's just head and shoulders above everybody in terms of left backs in the team right now. So you need someone that can compete with him, that can go head to head with him. So if Bruno Onyemaechi is not available, you have someone that can take his place. You have someone, that can replace him. So that's something that the Nigerian Super Eagles and the NFF have to consider, in my opinion. So now I've given my opinion about the team performance. So what would you want to see going into the game, versus Rwanda? What would you like to see going into that game? And I've also said Bruno Onyemaechi should start. What do you think? Are you of the opinion that he should start? Are you of the opinion? Do you share the opinion that he should start? Because I think, if I should give my opinion, I think Bruno Onyemaechi should start. That's my opinion, point blank. So what are your thoughts on that? And then talking about strength in depth as well, you need to improve the goalkeepers. Because we've got Stanley Nwabali, he's an excellent number one. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. Hopefully he's in perfect health going into the World Cup qualifying games against Zimbabwe, and then even afterwards, So hopefully that happens. But who should be that second choice? Are you happy with Maduka Okoye? Happy with Maduka Okoye as that second choice goalkeeper? For me, first off, I think he's been decent for Udinese. And that's, like I said, you have to use a player's club form to judge if they can be in the team. But for me, I think there's something still missing in his game, and he needs competition. And if we need to get competition, Noah Togulu is right there. Ato Konkwo is right there. And, like I said, Ato Konkwo, I think he is really, really keen to join up with the Nigerian Super Eagles. But let's see how that goes, if the selectors, if the handlers move that way. Now, for me, right now, I'll give my own starting 11, and 11 I would like to see against Zimbabwe, and then we can talk about it, we can analyze it, you can give your own opinion about it, and let's go. So for me, now I would like to see Stanley Nwabali, of course, there's no argument about it. Okay, before I go there, say, Ube Omo says this: I noticed something in the Rwandan match. Why did the coach play the right and left back that way? It almost affected the team, because when Osayi was tired and had enough, no right back to put in place of him. Yeah, that's true. I noticed that as well. I get the kind of tactical thing that he wanted to do, But for me, I don't think there was real need for that tactical move. I guess he wanted to say, okay, Ola, you're a very attack-minded fullback, so I'm going to play you, and you're better than Bright Osai Samuel. I'm going to play you at left back, and you're going to be inverting into midfield, to provide more numbers in the midfield against Rwanda. But one thing you notice about Rwanda were not looking to dominate the midfield. They were not looking to dominate the midfield or passes or anything like that. What they were looking for is spacing behind, that ball goes there, and then when we get to the 18-yard area of the Super Eagles, then we can look to pass about. But for the most part, we are looking to hit on the break, and you had space in behind Ola, anytime he moved to the midfield. And Bright Osai Samuel, so they ended up having a situation where you had two right backs, they were gassed towards the end of the game. So for me, maybe we can say the coach was trying to do an experiment, was trying to understand his team better and all that talk. But for me, there was no need. And going into the game versus Zimbabwe, there is no need for that kind of experiment. For me, Ola, best right back in the world, in my opinion, should play at right back. Bruno Onyemaechi, Nigeria's best left back at the minute, should play at left back. And he's a very, very good offensive threat. Because like I said earlier in the video, if you think that we saw deep line defending deep by Rwanda, Zimbabwe will defend even deeper. And when a team defends deep, you need your fullbacks to create width for your team, especially when you're playing with wingers who are inverting, especially when you're going to play, with 3-10s like Eric Chelle played against Rwanda, because though Chukwueze is a winger, though Ademola Lookman is for the most part a winger, he was played as a 10. What's it called? Simon Moses was played as a 10, Chukwueze was played as a 10. And so when you have that narrow midfield, you need your fullbacks to overlap, to provide that width for your team, to bring balls into the box, to stretch the opponents, because once you keep going to the middle and the opposition team knows that this team is never ever going to go out wide, then our job is made easy. We'll just block that middle and that's it. So Bruno Onyemaechi has to be in that game. Ola has to be in that game, playing in their favored position. Because one thing that Nigeria has to do, that the Nigerian Super Eagles have to do, is to get the first goal and get it early. Because the longer it takes to get that goal, the more confident the Zimbabwean team will become. And by confident, I don't mean that they become confident and they start flying forward looking for goals. No, the more confident and resolute they become in their tactics, they begin to defend deeper, more tightly, and then psychology is real. Nigeria begins to become desperate. Nigeria begins to feel like, oh, we have to get that goal. And once desperation sets in, you open up your back, you open up your defensive line for attack. And one thing we don't want, this may seem obvious to say again, if Zimbabwe gets the first goal in this game, it's going to be a real hassle. It's going to be really tough, because coming into this game, they're not looking to attack at all. The Zimbabwean side are not looking to attack, believe me, in this game. They're not looking, at least let me put it this way, they're not looking to come out, play free-flowing football, attack, create chances, because they know the likes of Osimhen will absolutely slaughter them on the counter-attack. They know the likes of Ademola Lookman will slaughter them on the counter-attack. So they're going to be deep, and rightfully so, because they're the weaker team. So they're going to play to their strengths. So you need to play aggressive on the ball, have intention on the ball, dominate play, and have more width on the ball. That's my opinion. I want to know what you think about that. You need to have more width, on the ball to open up the Rwandan side, in my opinion. To open up the Rwandan side, in my opinion. So, and then I want to ask you guys, because a lot of things have been going around Iwobi. People said he performed very well. He played very well against the Rwandan team. Someone even on X was saying, oh, he's happy now, that Iwobi is proving his doubters wrong. So before I give my own opinion on it, I want to know what you think. What do you think about Iwobi's performance? Because if you've been watching this channel, I'm sure you know my opinion about Alex Iwobi. So what are your thoughts and opinion on Alex Iwobi's performance going into the Rwandan game? Should he start or should he come off the bench? Or also, what do you think about his performance overall in the Rwandan game? Now, this is a tweet on X. I'll share it and I'll read what the person had to say, and then I'll give my own opinion about what the person said and give my own opinion overall. So you have Mikolo. This is Mikolo on X. This is what he tweeted about Alex Iwobi. He said, "I'm glad more people are coming to the reality of Alex Iwobi's legacy with the Super Eagles on and off the pitch. An absolute professional, chose us and made it cool to play for, of course, plus 2-3 for that Nigeria as a foreign-born player, as a foreign-born playing in a top team. Most criticized but never complains. Big 17. Now, a couple of things can be true. He chose to play for Nigeria. That's good. We're hoping that more dual nationals, follow his example in that regard to play for the Nigerian Super Eagles without much hassle. That's true. 100%. That's what we want to see. That is what we like to see. But has he been really very, very good for Nigeria? I don't think so. One thing I will give Iwobi credit for is once he's invited, once you have the list out and it's time for the players to be at the camp, to report to training, to report to the team camp, he's there. So that's a very good attribute to have as a player. A very good attribute to have as a player, something that should be emulated. You want every player to have that sort of mindset, that kind of love for the national team. So once you're invited, no excuses, you come in and you do your best. And just like I said when I was talking about Al Hassan Yusuf, I don't blame anybody for accepting the invitation of the Nigerian Super Eagles because it's an honor to play for your country. Even me, if I'm invited today, play for the Nigerian Super Eagles, I'll be happy. It'll be an honor. But has it been good enough? Has it been that good that he should play in that midfield? For me, I don't think so. And one of the reasons is this. We have better options. Now, for me, Iwobi can be an additional body in the midfield. Maybe you're winning the game and you want to add more bodies into the midfield, or you're chasing the lead, you want to add more bodies into the midfield to dominate the game. Beautiful. That's good. But we've got better options. And like I said, the way Eric Chelle wants to play, you need, that player that has that tank, that has that energy to go two ways, that has the energy and the ability, technical ability. So that is where, for me, Joe Aribo falls short. I think Iwobi is a better technical player than Joe Aribo, but Joe Aribo has more of the physicality than what's it called, Iwobi. So, but when you look at them closely, they still fall short. That is why the likes of Chrysanthus Uche should be in the next set of players that they invite. Should be in it. Okay, I'll take these two charts here. So you got Hube Omo. Okay, I would say he should sit on the bench if the coach will have the courage to play him in the position he plays in Fulham. But actually, he did well against Rwanda. I saw his energy. I was surprised. Yeah, that's good. I think he was a little bit better in terms of his energy levels against Rwanda. Fair play to him. But fair play to him. For me, I'm not saying, I don't want to see Iwobi in the national team at all. No, he has a role to play. But to be that main guy in the midfield, the way the guy wants to play, I don't think he should be that guy. Especially high-octane football, high-pressured football, go two ways in the midfield. I don't think so. And then Amazing said, the question is, what creativity is he bringing to the midfield? He's also not a ball winner. Now, that's the question. Now, I've said this before. I've used Eden Hazard as an example. Now, you have some players, they don't have energy to press. They may not even have the will to press. But once the ball gets to their feet, gets to their feet, gets to their foot, it's magic. They can glide past 3-4 players, dribble the entire pitch, create chances for their teammates, score goals for themselves. Brilliant. And then because of that, the coach can say, I know this player doesn't press that much. I know he doesn't have the athletic ability. He doesn't go in for tough tackles. He doesn't put too much pressure on the opposition team. But once he gets this ball, he's absolute magic. So it will be for me. I look at him, I ask myself, is he super creative enough? Where you can say, okay, now we're not looking at you to press anymore. We'll allow you even if you don't press. You've got so much magic in your boots. We're going to let you just float around the pitch, because we know once you get the ball, you can unlock any defense in Africa. You can unlock any defense in the world. I don't think so. That's just my opinion. You can have a different opinion as well. So for me, when he lacks these two qualities, then it becomes an issue, because he is creative, no doubt. But is he super creative up to that level where you can say, boom, don't press, don't really run and press, that's fine. Okay. Ikema Kolam Kingsley Uduma says, I disagree with you. It will be most times he's played out of position. He plays with H, okay? Plays out of position. So maybe you're saying the way he plays at Fulham is different. So if you're saying he plays out of position, are you saying Ikema Kolam? Are you saying, or Ikem, if I can call you Ikem, are you saying Iwobi should play as a winger? Are you sure that Iwobi can actually play as a winger and indeed be effective as a winger? I struggle to see that, especially in an African context and where the child wants to play. I struggle to see that a bit. I struggle to see that. Now, I'm saying he can be part of the team, the squad rather, part of the squad, but to be part of the team, and part of an essential part of that team and be the creative 10, it's difficult for me. If he was really, really creative, super creative, then I would say, okay, now, no worries. You don't even need to press. Just let him be there. Because after all, we've seen players before. They can't press, but once the ball gets to them, magic. We've seen Gotze. We've seen Mesut Ozil. They can't press to save their lives, but once they have the ball at their feet, absolute magic. They can unlock any defense. That's my opinion with respect to Iwobi. So Eze Obigwe says, well done, Ugo. My simple take is this: the creative midfield role is still very vacant in the team and needs to be fixed quickly, whether in position or not. If you are creative, it will show. Now, I agree with you to some extent, Obigwe, or Eze Obigwe. That 10 role where you want someone who's creative on the ball, that has that magic on the ball, is still up for grabs. It's still up for someone to take a claim. And for me, Nigeria, we have a deep talent pool. And you see, I've said it before, Ethan Nwaneri is a player that Nigeria should look at and try to get him. Now, there's something that may not be related to Nigeria that I want to share, because each time we talk about Ethan Nwaneri come to play for Nigeria, people say, oh, he was brought up by XYZ country. Why do you want to repair it? Not so. But I say this question of dual nationality is not just a Nigerian thing. It's not just Nigeria looking for. Even England, they have the issues where they're looking for dual nationals, where they have a battle between themselves and Scotland, themselves and Ireland. You have Greece and Belgium. I'll see if I can get that up, get what I want to get up, and show you guys what I mean. And then we'll have that discussion as well. Just a second, guys. Let me just check this quickly. I'll just check this quickly. and then we can go. Now, I'll share this with you now. So, for me, okay, say Lookman, I'll share this with you guys, and then we'll come back to the Iwobi discussion. We'll come back to the Lookman discussion. Just a moment. So, I'll share my screen now. So, you see this player here. We're coming up very soon. I'll just share this on here. Now, this player, this is his name, come up. He is Konstantinos Karitesas, 17-year-old, becomes the youngest player ever to score a competitive goal for Greece. Now, there are two things I want to point out from this post by Fabrizio Romano. We all know him, transfer, insider, and all that. Things I want to point out. Notice his age, 17. Youngest player to score for Greece. But there's one other information that's not here, that we'll also talk about. We'll talk about that as well. And that is this. He was eligible to play for Belgium and Greece. Eligible to play for Belgium and Greece. In fact, he had played age grade competition for Greece, for Belgium. But he has switched to play for Greece. And he's a 17-year-old that has been given the opportunity to play for the senior team of Greece. Now, why have that brought this up? What relationship does Greece have with Nigeria, have with Ethan Nwaneri? Ethan Nwaneri is 17 going on 18. So this year is going to be 18. Now, each time you talk about Ethan Nwaneri, these are the two things you get. He's too young, he's 17, and he should play for on the under 17 team in Nigeria first. You play for the under 20 team for Nigeria first. Why should he come and play for the Super Eagles immediately? You get that. The next one you get, this one really baffles me. It makes me have headaches sometimes. People say this, we did not bring him up. He was brought up in the English football system. Why should Nigeria get to play with him? Why should Nigeria get to use him in their national team? Want to look well, we do not so. So what are you going to say about Greece? Are you going to say Greece are reaping where they did not sow? There's this constant competition for dual nationals. It's everywhere. It's not just African country, European country. Even between European countries, you have that discussion. Everyone is putting out their case forward to convince these players to play for their countries because they want to get the best players available to help them win games, to help them go as far as they can into international competitions. And Nigeria cannot be left behind. Ethan Nwaneri is a special player. One thing I will say now, Nigeria's talent pool is super deep. Obi, I can see you. Don't worry, I'll get to you. Nigerian talent pool is very deep, but one part of the pitch where Nigeria lacks players is that 10 role, that creative role, hold the ball, be cool with the ball, has lacked that national number 10. And Ethan Nwaneri is magic. Forget about 17. Lamine Yamal was doing that. He was playing for Spain national team. You're seeing this young kid as well. Because each time you use Lamine Yamal as an example, people say, not everybody's Lamine Yamal. Not everybody's Lamine Yamal. Okay, look at this Greek kid. What are you going to say about him? Are you going to say this Greek kid is better than Ethan Nwaneri? Is that what we're going to say? No, I'm sure you can't say that. So let's say, yes, he's a winger and he plays with passion for Nigeria. I agree, he plays with passion for Nigeria, no doubt about that. And that's why I say he should be in the squad. But to be that main guy that is creative in the midfield, I don't think so. So Lookman is the most creative player in the Super Eagles as it stands. Yes, I agree to that regard. Right now, the way the team is constituted, the way the amongst the players that were invited, Lookman is the most creative player, no doubt about that. But that 10 role needs to be fixed up quickly. And even the deep line playmaker role needs to be fixed up quickly. Because that deep line playmaker role is something that Nigeria does not create players, a lot. You had Mikel Obi, and after Mikel Obi, there's no other person that really creates like that deep line playmaker. We now have a Ebenezer Akinsimero. I don't know what the excuse is. He's a single national. He has only Nigerian citizenship. I don't know what the delay is about getting him to play for Nigeria. He's signed by Inter Milan. He's on loan to Sampdoria in the Serie B. So I don't see what the issue is. Like I say, he's a mono-national. He has only Nigerian nationality. So there's no question of, we're trying to convince him to switch allegiance. He's right there to play that deep line playmaker role. So I'll go to Guta's Ob. I am here to represent Zimbabwe. What are you talking about? Yes, what I'm saying is Nigeria, Zimbabwe. Can Nigeria win against your country, Gutas? Can Nigeria win against Zimbabwe? I am very positive Nigeria can win. And I'm saying that Nigeria should not take Zimbabwe for granted. But if you look at it, team for team, player for player, ability for ability, quality for quality, Nigeria is better than Zimbabwe 100%. But we have all heard the same. When talent does not work hard work beats talent. If you have all the talent in the world, which Nigeria does, and the Nigerian Super Eagles refuses to match the work rate of the Zimbabwean national team on the pitch, then that'll be an issue. But if the Nigerian Super Eagles match the work rate, the effort of the Zimbabwean national team on the pitch in that Uyo Stadium with the crowd, going absolutely mental for the Super Eagles, I'm pretty sure Nigeria can win that game and win it very comfortably. You must match the work rate. Nigeria must match the work rate of Zimbabwe. There's no doubt about that. Zimbabwe will come, they'll play tough, they'll play tightly, they'll have a solid back line. They may even play with 2 banks of 4. But that's why Nigeria must start aggressively, be purposeful on the ball. No slow start, pass side to side, pass back, being tentative. None of that. You must start aggressively on the ball, must be intentional on the ball, must look to hurt the Zimbabwe national team in footballing terms, of course. Look to make them pay any mistake they make. That's what the Nigerian Super Eagles should do. So Amazing says Onyedika for me could do the deep line playmaker work. Yes, he can. But this is what I mean. In the context of who the Super Eagles have invited, yes, he can. And I think, looking at it, I think he is, in this particular squad, he is the best player to do that in this squad. But if you're looking at overall talent, in terms of all the talent available to Nigeria, Ebenezer Akinsimero, in my opinion, is better in coordinating that play. And because that's one thing that we've lacked. Nigeria always has the wingers, pacey, powerful strikers, very clinical strikers, big strong center backs that can read the game. We had Uche Okechukwu in his time. We had Taribo in his time. Now we have Troost Ekong right now. You always have, but when it comes to that guy that can hold the ball, control it, pass, give me, I look who is free, take it, give me, I decide when to pass long, when to pass short, control the pace of the game. That is an area where Nigeria has really, really lacked. Has really, really lacked players. So when you see the likes of Ebenezer Akinsimero, don't hesitate to get him in. Because let's look at it. Since Mikel, who is the person you can point? Okay, there's Raphael Onyedika that can do a job there. But for me, Raphael Onyedika, I prefer him to be, if you're playing that 3-man central midfield, I prefer him to be on the right side of that central midfield. And then you have your Chris Santos to be on the left side of it. And then you have your Ebenezer Akinsimero to be in the center of that 3-man midfield. Of course, they can dovetail and move around and all that. But the person that has that role for me, Benita Kinsimiro, is the best I have seen so far. And then Nigel says, I am Zimbabwean and we are a first brother. Watch this space. Okay. Oh, I'm happy with your confidence, Nigel. I am happy with your confidence. I'm happy with your confidence. You know, everyone should support their team. You know, there's a saying in Nigeria, now who go say mama soup no sweet. In other words, no one is ever going to say his mom's food or his mother's food is not tasty. Therefore, no one is ever going to say, you know, what they have or their own sort of thing is not good enough. Zimbabwean national team, I give them due respect. I give them due respect 100%. You must always respect your opponent. But the point I'm making is this. The point I'm making is this. Even if you're the most ardent Zimbabwean fan, you're the best of the best supporters. But when you look at player for player, you've got to say Nigeria has got the better players. No, you've got to say it. You've got to say Nigeria has got the better players. You can believe that your team can find a way to get victory or, you know, get a reasonable result. But when you look at it, honestly, you look at it player for player, you confess to yourself and say, yeah, I think Nigeria is better in terms of players. You know, you say that. And that's one thing I've been saying in this video, and I'll say it again. If Nigeria goes into this game and just feel, oh no, it's Zimbabwe, we're going to win, don't worry about it, don't worry, don't bother about it, we'll just go, wake up, even be half drunk, going to the game, we're going to win, no Zimbabwe, then Nigeria will be in for a shock. But if you go into that game with full respect, look at Zimbabwe and say, okay, they are a team also competing, you know, to get into, a World Cup qualifying spot. And you say, okay, we must match their hard work on the pitch. You know, we must match their hard work. We must, you know, match their work rate on the pitch. If that is done, for me, I'm confident that Nigeria can get the victory. Therefore, don't take Zimbabwe for granted, because there are teams that we've seen like Lesotho. Nigeria went against Lesotho and drew a game that you should be winning. You know, so you go into the game with full intent. Be purposeful on the ball, because, like I say, you can see from our Zimbabwean brothers, they are confident as well that going into that game, they can get a win against Nigeria. So for me, full intention, be aggressive and positive, and have positive intent on the ball. Dominate the play from the first blast of the whistle. Don't give the Zimbabwean side, due respect my brothers, don't give the Zimbabwean side the opportunity to gain confidence into that game. Don't make them feel like, oh yes, we can play. No. Get the ball, you dominate them. Last says Zimbabwe is on fire. Good. That's nice. That's nice to see. I really appreciate you, my Zimbabwean brothers, joining us on this stream. It's nice to have you on here. You know, one love to everyone. Huge respect to you guys. Everyone who watches this channel, subscribes to the channel, shares the video, click the notification bell. It's amazing, really, to have you guys, you know, on here. Sometimes you want to join me and be part of the discussion, you can let me know. I can share the link as well, and we all can have the face-to-face conversation on here. That would be nice, a nice thing to have. You guys should let me know if you want to participate in that way, and let me know if you're enjoying, you know, this video. So brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Now, Zimbabwe, of course. And one thing I want to say now, this is one thing I've said about Nigeria, but since we have Zimbabwean viewers on, I want to also say this to Zimbabwean viewers. Do you know you have some very talented players? Some very talented players that are eligible to play for you. I wonder what your federation is doing to convince those people to play for you. Like there is Shemi Mueka. I hope his name is spelled Mhueka. He played for Chelsea Academy. You know, thank you, my brother. Nigel says I will subscribe just now. Good to have a brother from West Africa who can engage. For sure, my brother. For sure. Thank you so much. You know, he's eligible to play for Zimbabwe. He's eligible to play for England. Right now, he plays in the under 20. I think he's under 21 sides for England. He plays there as well, and he has a brother as well. He is from the Chelsea Academy, and he has a brother from the Brighton, you know, Academy as well. that's at the Brighton Academy. So I wonder what the Zimbabwean FA, Zimbabwean Federation, what they're doing to get these boys on board, to get these players on board. Like for me, I'm a Nigerian football fan. I'm a Nigerian. I love my Nigerian football. I love my Nigerian national team to get the best players available to them. But also, I also look at Africa and say, come on now. We can't always go to tournaments and be the color. Oh, look at the color of the Africans. Oh, they look so bright. Look at what they wear. At some point, we have to go to those tournaments and be winning stuff and be an actual threat, in the tournament. Look how Morocco is doing. Look at how strong Morocco is. So that's something we should copy. So I decided to drop that piece of nugget for our Zimbabwean fans. So for me, I want to ask this question right now. What do we all think about this question of dual nationals? What do we all think about it? Because I used to think it was only a Nigerian issue. Once you talk about dual nationals, you have people who always push back at you. There was this post about a Ghanaian player or player of Ghanaian origin. His family moved from Ghana to Spain. Now he's about 17 or 18. He plays for the an age grade team for Atletico Madrid. And so a Ghanaian fan was posting something to the effect that the Ghanaian FA should act fast to get him to play for Ghana. And I went into the comments. I just wanted to see what was going on. And I saw a lot of people saying things that I used to hear from some Nigerian fans, and I would disagree with. And they were saying things like this: why should he play for Ghana? Ghana has done nothing to, develop him. Why should Ghana want him? Why should he play for Ghana? Ghana should not repair from where they haven't sown. But one thing I have pointed out: do you think if that boy does something wrong, his Ghanaian heritage will not be pointed out to? And also, I've said this in this video as well, that dual nationals, this question of dual nationals playing for one country or the other, is not just African countries versus European countries. Even amongst European countries, you have these issues, you have these discussions. But now, I want to ask you one more question. Any score predictions? Is there anyone confident enough, to beat their chest and say, okay, we are going to predict this? Zimbabwean brothers, what are your predictions going into this game? Nigerians on here, what are your predictions going into the game versus Zimbabwe? What are your predictions going into that game? For me, I'll give my predictions at the start of the game. And I'll be having a watch along as well. So the watch along, you get your TV set, and while I get my own device I'll use to watch the match as well, and we all watch it and we all react on here. You can join me for that watch along. It will be tomorrow towards the time of the match. The scheduled live stream will be out, and then when I'll be online here, and we can watch the match and react together. And we'll also have a post-match reaction. We'll have a post-match reaction, once the game ends, as part of that live watch along. So VVVVV says this: I think there is a reality that these young Africans do not see themselves as Africans. Now, in some regard, it can be true. I'll give you an instance. There was Kevin Shada. Kevin Shada, when you hear Kevin Shada, you would think if he's connected to Nigeria, maybe it's from his mom's side, right? But it is his father who is Nigerian. He is father who is Nigerian. It's his father who is Nigerian. But he said he only knows Germany. He hasn't heard of Nigeria. He only into playing for Germany. Fine, you always get those people. But one thing I'll tell you, I have had interactions with Nigerian players who are dual nationals. Some of them have been in my DM. They said, do you know, they've called the state where their father is from. Do you know my father is from XYZ state in Nigeria? They've called the community where their dad is from. There's a player, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's been in my DM some years ago, and I've remembered him. He's been in my DM, and he's dropped that. So for a player to do that, that tells you that he would be open to playing for Nigeria. And then there's another player now. I'm not going to say what his name is. I'm not going to say the country is eligible to play for apart from Nigeria. I went into his DM because he put in the story and about his invite to a country, and then I said, in Nigeria we need you. And what did he say? He sent him to me. If he's called up, he would be open to it. So a lot of these players are open to playing for Nigeria, but they're not going to invite themselves. The NFF have to step up and look to convince these players, just like what I pointed out with respect to that Greece young kid. He was born in Belgium, eligible to play for Belgium. He played Belgium academy age grade football, but he's played for Greece, and he is 17. Because sometimes people bring that age thing. Oh, 17-year-old. He's played for Greece now at 17. And then you see what Morocco is doing. Look at Assane Diao. Assane Diao, he's leaving to play for Spain and to play for Senegal. But Senegal got him, convinced him. He now plays for them. I think he played their last game, their last World Cup qualifying game. So these players are always open. Because sometimes people make you feel like, oh, these players are so arrogant. They look down on their African heritage. They don't want to play for the national team. Ask the first question: has the NFL been intentional about these players? Now, Muchin Chin JK says 80% of Nigerian football supporters are not tactical inclined. You use the best players to fight for titles. Therefore, going to convince dual citizenship is necessary. 100% I agree with you. 100% I agree with you. When you want to win, you ignore everything that doesn't concern winning. Anything that doesn't concern winning. He's a dual national. Oh, we have to go and convince him. Oh, why are we going to convince him? Keep it aside. Go and speak to him. Because you know what you want to get. You know you want to win. I've said this before in the previous stream, in the previous video on this channel. I've said it before. If the NFF says to talk to these boys is difficult, they are too arrogant, and they don't want to play for us, give me the right. Don't pay me. I'm saying this now live here. Do not pay me. Don't pay me a dime. Just say, Ugo, we give you the authority, the legal authority. Speak to these players on behalf of Nigeria. I guarantee you, there are 5 players right now that I can speak to, and they'll play for Nigeria. But I don't have any authority to convince it. I can go and speak to someone and say, I want to play for Nigeria. I don't have any authority to make it legal to play for Nigeria. So that tells you that you have players who are eligible that want to play for Nigeria. And one thing, I've used an example of Man City and Dortmund. If Man City wants to sign, let's say, an 18-year-old wonder kid, they're going to convince him with, oh, we're going to double your salary, we're going to triple your salary. You may not be a main player, you may not be the main player, but you can be part of a title-winning team. Title-winning team. But for Dortmund will say, we are going to make you part of our team. You're going to be the mainstay. You're going to be an integral part of our team. So you see, different ways of convincing players to play and that's doing the club example. So the same way, sometimes we have this mindset that, oh, if England is not going to call Ethan Nwaneri as an 18-year-old or 17-year-old, why should we call him? Oh, no. No, you can offer him first team football for the Super Eagles. You offer him that, you've got him. But anyway, let's go on. The majority of African fathers disconnect themselves from their heritage. I wouldn't say majority, but some of them do. Some of them do. Like for that Kevin Shada, I knew of him a long while ago, and I knew he was Nigerian. He had a Nigerian connection. But I was thinking, Shada, maybe it's his mom who is Nigerian, and his dad is German. No, it turned out that his dad is indeed the person who is Nigerian. But that's it. And then last says, you know what, bro? I want to assure you So let's go back. Let's move up to Latse. You know what, bro? I want to assure you, don't underestimate Zimbabwe. You will be disappointed. Mark my words. I'm not underestimating. I'm not underestimating you, bro. I'm not underestimating Zimbabwe. Not at all. I'm not underestimating. I've said this. I've only said the facts. Player for player, Nigeria is better. But work rate, application in the game, Nigeria Super Eagles must match the work rate. They must match the application of the Zimbabweans. Come, the 25th of March tomorrow. Must match. 25th of March must match that application. Must match the application. Must match their work rate. Must match their tackles, their running, their effort. And then, I assure you, if Nigerian Super Eagles match the effort and work rate of the Zimbabwean national team, then I think Nigeria will win. But if they go into that game, be lax, we think we can win, and then that's it. Niger says this, we all have the same problem, brother. We have two players playing for Liverpool since they were born and bred in England. So it's better to have local-based players who have their country at heart. Now, to some extent, like I said before, to some extent, that is true. To some extent, you have people that they don't want to associate with their African heritage, they don't want to associate with the African country. You have that. But I assure you this, Nigel, if your FA really works well, a lot of these players will play for you. A lot of them will. Look at what Morocco is doing. Look at what Congo is doing. Look at what Senegal is doing. Look at what all these teams are doing. They're getting these people and they're playing for them. So that's something we should look at. And then Nigel says, what do you think about Papa Daniel? Papa Daniel, I think he is a decent player. And I'll like to see him get some game time in this game, especially if Nigeria is able to start the game as I want them to start positively, start aggressively on the ball, and get maybe 2 goals in the first half or even in the second half with 25 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go. You bring him in the midfield, you bring him in there. So Papa Daniel, I would like to see him because he's a talent that has been raved about, in the domestic Nigerian scene. It's good to see him invited. So I want to see what he gets to do. I hope he can make the MPFL proud and really show himself tomorrow if he gets the game time. For me, I think he should get the game time, maybe 15 minutes. He should get like 15 minutes of the game. If the team maybe is winning, you need bodies to come in. I think he is a decent player and can definitely contribute. So I want to thank everyone who's joined me on this stream, that has watched this channel, that subscribed to the channel. I really appreciate you guys so much. Last says those boys, their problem is they don't have country at heart. Now, because obviously I'm a Nigerian, I'm not close to Zimbabwean, young players, the way I have that connection with some young Nigerian, who I'm into that young Nigerian player scene. I'm not the same way with Zimbabwe. But I want to say this. If you really look closely, not all of them are that way. Because we have the same issue in Nigeria where people say, oh, he's arrogant. Oh, how are we going to beg him? How are we begging him? And when they say that, I ask this question. I say, Morocco, so no Moroccan player is arrogant. How did they convince their players? Senegal, so no Senegalese player in the whole world is arrogant or looks down on Senegal. How do they convince their players? Algeria, how do they convince their players? Ademola Lookman, he wasn't arrogant. How did he get to play for Nigeria? It's because Ademola Lookman fell on the lap of Nigeria. Because his career looked like it wasn't going to go the way people were expecting. So England had moved their eyes from him. England removed their eyes from him and don't worry, it's not going to amount to anything. And then he just fell to Nigeria. Bam. He just fell into Nigeria's lap like that. That's how he got to play for Nigeria. So that can be your strategy, to just hope that the European team doesn't look at him so much. European country doesn't look at the player so much. You must be intentional I've said it before. It's just like, you want a job. That job you want, that very good job you want that pays so much, other people want it as well. If as a young man, you're looking to get married, you're looking to get into a serious relationship, or whatever, you see that very beautiful lady, someone else wants to get her number as well. So you can't just sit there and say, oh, okay, if all the guys who go to ask her out, she doesn't agree for any of them, I can be the guy. That can be your strategy. So it's the same thing with these players. You have to be intentional. You have to go out. And of course, out of 10, you could have 3 or 4 that will say, no, I don't want to play for Nigeria. I don't want to play for Zimbabwe. I want to play for England. I want to play for Belgium. You can have them. But I assure you, if your football federation shows that pure, clear intention about these players, I wish I could show you my DM, but I won't, because I have to maintain the confidence of these players. I have to maintain their confidence. I have to maintain, their privacy. But I've had players, like I said, that have come to my DM and said, oh, do you know I'm from XYZ place? I've had players like that. So, what do you think about Lookman? I'm sorry, the Warriors are there to fight to last minute. I agree. And that is something that Nigeria has to be wary about. And Nigeria has to match their effort. So last, let me ask you, what is your score prediction? Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest, my brother. You've been saying you back your country, Zimbabwe would shock Nigeria. Let's hear your score prediction. Give me your score prediction. Let me know your score prediction in the chat. Let me see it. Say it type it right now with your chest, with your full heart. Type it right there. Let's see. So I want to thank you all once again for joining me on this channel. It's really been a pleasure speaking to you guys. You guys and girls watching on the channel. Really been amazing having you on here. I want to build this channel to be one of the biggest footballing communities on YouTube, not for myself only per se, but for everyone else, to do some good with football. We can really do good with football. The amount of positive things, positive change that can be done with football is amazing. And I need your support in that move. The only thing I need is subscribe, support, share the channel to other people that you feel may love this sort of content, may want to hear about African football, want to hear about Nigerian football, want to hear about Premier League football as well. So, okay, say 1-1, going for a draw. Okay, any Nigerian there to back me up with a winning prediction, So, and then I want to say this before we round up quickly. If you want to talk about Premier League football, you're a fan of Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, drop it in the chats as well. You can send me a DM on X. We've got Madifu Football channel on X. You follow me on there, send me a DM, and then you could be part of a panel that we're trying to put together for the channel where we can all come and talk about African football like this, but face-to-face via video, and talk about the various clubs we support, videos like this as well. So at this point, I've come to the end of this video. I really appreciate everyone who's watched, who stayed on from the first minute, from the first moment this stream started. I want to thank you all so much for your support. And we'll definitely have a watch along tomorrow. Please join me for that one as well. So like I always say, do have a splendid rest of your day. Take care of yourself.